Crossovers and Grand Summoners, they just go together. It's like peanut butter and jelly, your meat and potatoes. You really can't have one without the other. So I thought it would be fun in today's video if I go through all the crossovers that happened this year and rank them on a tier list. Of course, this is gonna be my tier list, but you guys can let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think. What was your favorite crossover? Which one you hated the most? How would you rank these? You know what I'm saying? Either way though, I'm gonna show you how cultured I truly am. Look at him, man. He's so happy. So Jobless Reincarnation was the first crossover that reigned in the new year for Grand Summoners in 2022. And it brought a lot of cool stuff. We had some good equips that came out of this, like the Rudius staff. There may have been some others, but that's the main one I can think of on the top of my head. It also brought some really good units like Rudius himself, Roxy, my girl Eris, very fun unit. And also, you know, some people's favorite, which is Sylph. But yeah, overall, this crossover brought a lot of good stuff. It was fun. It was brand new. It was a breath of fresh air. Never experienced it before in Grand Summoners Global, and it was great. It really was. The only thing that I would say that I wish this crossover did was make the characters 120 luck, because yeah, they weren't 120 luck, right? Oh, wait, let me make sure. Okay, they weren't. They were only luck 5. Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, this crossover was like a 120 luck crossover. I would say it would be almost 10 out of 10 for me. I didn't really necessarily love any of the units. Like, I liked them. They were fun units to play around with, like Rudius and everybody, especially Eris. Eris were extremely fun unit. One of the best physical damage dealers in the game, in my opinion. I think this crossover is a very good standard crossover that I would put in the good tier. It was very solid, very good. I don't think anybody had a problem with this one. I'm gonna be honest. I think it was great overall. Fairy Tail. Where do we start with this one, man? So Fairy Tail brought some pretty good units to the game. This was also a very hype crossover for a lot of people. A lot of people like Fairy Tail. A lot of people watch Red Fairy Tail, something like that. And it brought some crazy units. We got Natsu, which is a pretty solid fire attacker. Wish that he wasn't tied to just burn though, because that kind of hurts some of his damage. We also got my boy Gray, you know what I'm saying? Gray, my guy right there. One of my most used units in the game, one of my favorite units in the game too. It also brought Lucy, very strong light support character, also can buff up crit rate and magic damage. And it brought Urza to the game, one of the strongest physical damage dealers in the game, does stupid damage. And let it be known that I do have Urza and I've never even leveled her up once. The event was pretty solid too. These guys were also 120 luck, which was a huge plus. And just because of all that, I'm gonna be biased and say Fairy Tail was actually a 10 out of 10. Yep, you heard me right. I think Fairy Tail is a perfect example of how you do a crossover that's brand new and how you do it right. The only thing I would add to this crossover is a exclusive Fairy Tail raid or an exclusive Fairy Tail mines or something like that, and a ticket that guaranteed you one of the crossover units. There was no free crossover unit from this batch, unfortunately. But if it comes back in the future and they add any of those things, it's gonna be great. The next crossover for Global was Kill a Kill. Oof. This is a very big crossover for a lot of people. This is one of the most hyped crossovers because it brings the best support unit in the game, even still to this day, which is Mako. Of course, there are some other solid units from this batch that a lot of people forget about. Ryuko, Satsuki, and even the newest edition, Nui. Every character from this crossover, I would say, is actually pretty solid, especially Mako and Nui. Those guys are insanely good. But if I have to be honest with you guys, right, this crossover has came back so much on Global. I think it's been like, what, 6 times? I think 5 times, somewhere around in there. Because of that, this crossover and me don't get along. I am so sick and tired of seeing Kill a Kill, and at this point, I just wish they would power creep Mako or do something else, because that's literally the only reason I feel like they bring it back, because they know Mako's a moneymaker. They know that people will summon for her because how broken she is. Just power creep the girl. Make a super awoken character or something that's just better than her. I don't know. I'm sick and tired of using Mako. I've used Mako for the last 5 years of this game being out, and because of that, I'm gonna put it in the Y tier. I don't completely hate this crossover, because if they do bring it back, I think it can be improved upon. I think that if you add a new character to it, maybe like Ryuko's mom or something, you also add an exclusive type of raid, an exclusive type of mines, whatever the case may be, some type of exclusive content specifically to Kill a Kill. I think this crossover needs to do so much more if it ever returns to actually make it playable and interesting and engaging for like a lot of the veteran players or people who's already experienced it before. And it seems like the next crossover was Tokyo Revengers, but was that the next crossover for Grand Summoners? Or, oh, yeah. Shield Hero came out. So Shield Hero has a lot of good things going for it. For one, it has like, what, 4 units in it, right? 5 units, I think. One of them actually being free, everyone can obtain, which is Naofumi, the MC. Very strong taunt tank right there. Very good for new players if you don't have a taunt tank, which more than likely you're not going to. Also, everybody got buffed the last time this crossover came around. and made all of them extremely good, and they all became 120 luck, which I don't think was a thing before this. So it was a pretty solid crossover. I don't think they added too much in terms of equips and everything, but the buffs that they added were really solid, especially to Melty and Philo. New unit they added, Fitoria, was really good. One of the best characters in the game. If I was going to put this in any crossover tier, I would just put it in alright. It was a very solid rerun crossover. I think that they definitely could improve on a lot of stuff, of course. Always room for improvement, but it was an alright crossover. It wasn't amazing, it wasn't bad, it was decent. It was actually pretty solid. Now do we get into, oh yeah, this is when the boys come to town. Tokyo Revengers. This right here is quite possibly one of the best crossovers we've ever gotten in the game. It's like easily top 5. Tons of new units came out to this crossover like Draken, Mikey, Mitsuya, Chifuyu, and also the boy Takamichi. On top of that as well, had some pretty decent equips. The event was kind of okay. I mean, even though it was the same event that we always get. And the only thing I would say that would make this crossover better is if everybody was 120 luck and there was some type of event exclusive mode. Apart from that, this crossover, one of the best to ever do it. 10 out of 10. You cannot tell me that you do not think this. It added Draken and Mikey. Not only do these boys got the drip, not only do these boys got the damage, they also got the crazy voice acting. Them insane for each thing that they're doing. Draken literally one of the best physical damage supporters in the entire game. Mikey, one of the best critical damage nukers in the entire game. And yeah, easily 10 out of 10 crossover. Very, very good. So after that, we had some, it was like a downtime, right? For a little bit. Yeah, we had Groits come out. We had the Awoken Reyes come out and everything. Virgil got added to Last Claudia. That was fun. And then we had Dead Master, aka Blackrock Shooter. Blackrock Shooter added some great units, right? Dead Master, Empress, Strength, all those characters were really good. Kind of niche though, right? And yeah, I mean, it was decent. The event itself was kind of bland. I want to say it was just kind of the same event that we always get, which is I think the biggest criticism that I can say about all these crossovers. I don't know, with this crossover, I'm gonna actually say it was alright. Even though it was a newer crossover that came to the game, I don't know, something about it just didn't really stick with me. Like, it was one of those crossovers where I'm glad we got it. It was alright, you know what I'm saying? The main appeal to this crossover for me was Dead Master, of course. Everybody else was just kind of okay or not really that appealing. Also, these characters weren't even 120 looks, right? There wasn't a free unit from this crossover, and it was just like a very bland crossover. Like, I would expect this to be like a type of crossover GS would have got like in year 1 of Grand Summoners. And now moving on, are we at present day already? Or is there another crossover before this? We are at present day already. Shaman King. Ow, yo, trash. Never again. Let me explain. Shaman King isn't bad. In terms of like the units, the equips, all that type of stuff, it's really solid. My main issue with this crossover being out in 2022 and coming back to Grand Summoners Global because this is its second return is the fact that this crossover was extremely rushed. It was literally a filler piece of content, and you could tell it. You really could. The buffs that they gave to the units were so underwhelming. There was nothing really new in the crossover for the most part. No new equips or anything like that got added, if I'm not mistaken. Everything was just like the first crossover just done again, and it sucked. Not only just that, it came whenever we should have got another crossover, which was ReZero. And even to this day, I forget that this crossover is still going on at the moment in Grand Summoners Global. If this crossover ever returns, I expect big changes, like really big changes. I expect good buffs for everyone, new equips, possibly a new unit. And I also expect, this is asking for a lot, but a crossover exclusive mode. Any of that, and this crossover will redeem itself. But for right now, I don't want to see Shaman King ever again. And this is how they're going to treat it in the future as well. And I would say that's it. But like I mentioned before, there is actually a crossover that JP got that Global did not, which was ReZero. Where is it at? There it is, right there. I myself have not experienced the rerun of ReZero because I do not play the Japanese version of the game. I have seen everything that's coming out with it, and I would say they're doing some solid stuff here. All the characters got buffed, and by buffed, they actually got really solid buffs. And the only other thing that I could say about this crossover is this is actually the only crossover in the game that has an exclusive mode tied to it, which is the ReZero raid, which, yes, it's just a reskin of Garm, but it's something, right? It's something unique. It's something different. You have to do the raid if you want to get the true weapons for the characters, which I think is great. I would love to see this more in the future, and I don't know why they don't keep doing it. And this crossover, even though a lot of stuff didn't get added in terms of like gameplay wise and everything, if I had to put it in between anything, I would say ReZero on its own just as a crossover. It's a good crossover. It's a very good crossover. Whenever it first came out, I would say it was a 10 out of 10, but because they didn't really change too much, it was more so just buffs and new equips. It's a good crossover. And this right here would be my list, to be honest. If anything, the only thing I would change is I would move Black Rock Shooter to like in between here. That would be it. Yep, in between R and Y. Everything else, solid. I'm gonna be honest. I'm really happy with this list. I think this is good. You guys can tell me down below in the comment section, of course, what you guys think. Do you guys agree with this list? Do you guys hate it? Do you guys not like it? What would be your list? Let me know all that stuff down below. Also, if you guys would like to see more tier lists like this in the future of me doing just random stuff in general, let me know too. Tell me what you guys would like to see. But that's gonna be it for this video, man. Thank you all for coming out. It's been your boy P. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more. Also, don't forget to check out these videos popping on the screen right now. Great content, and guarantee you'll love them, especially if you love this video. And oh yeah, before you leave, don't forget to drink water.